All right, everybody, welcome back to the True Alien Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Smith, and we are back for another daily deep dive into the strange and unexplained.
The downright bizarre.
That's right, the downright bizarre. And I am joined again, as always, by the amazing Julia Jones.
Hello, everyone.
So, Julia, as always, we're going to be taking an incredible story today from, well, we don't know where it comes from, but it's a good story.
Yeah.
And we're going to try to unpack the fact from the fiction. You know what I mean?
It's a healthy dose of humor and a whole lot of curiosity.
That's right.
My skepticism is finely tuned and my analytical hat is on and ready to go.
Wonderful, wonderful. So today's Paranormal Probe takes us to the dazzling lights and the sometimes deceptive world of the Las Vegas Strip, and we're going to be looking into the case of the Great Zarthos.
The Great Zarthos, huh? Interesting name. Sounds like a headliner. What kind of act was he putting on?
Well, you know, he was a magician, but he wasn't your typical illusionist. You know what I mean?
I would hope not. This is the True Alien Podcast, after all.
Exactly. So we're talking about, levitations that seem to defy gravity disappearances that left even the most seasoned, Vegas crowd scratching their heads.
Yeah, you've got to be pretty impressive to stand out in Vegas. They've seen it all.
Exactly. And he had this uncanny ability to just produce objects out of thin air, like an endless stream of them. And it's not just that people were entertained by it, they were genuinely baffled.
Okay, so not your average pulling a rabbit out of a hat routine.
Yeah.
What's the explanation here?
Well, our sources, they suggest that Zarthos wasn't actually performing illusions in the way that we traditionally understand them. It's more like he was demonstrating a subtle manipulation of what some might call interdimensional pockets and localized gravity fields.
Okay, hold on. Interdimensional pockets, localized gravity fields.
Yeah.
Are we talking science fiction here, or is there any basis for these concepts?
Well, think of it this way. Think of interdimensional pockets as these small temporary openings to other dimensions, right? And through these openings, he could store or retrieve objects.
So that's how he was pulling all those objects out of thin air.
Precisely. And the localized gravity fields, well, imagine if you could bend or intensify gravity just in a small, specific area.
I mean, I can barely wrap my head around regular gravity, so bending it on purpose.
And these are skills that, according to our sources, he honed over millennia on his home planet of Xylos.
Xylos. Okay, we're going full sci-fi here, but it's interesting. Why Vegas, though?
Yeah.
With that kind of power, why not something more grand? Why not fix world hunger or traffic?
Well, there are a few reasons, apparently. First off, Vegas provides a certain level of anonymity, right? I mean, it's a city of bright lights and sensory overload, so somebody truly extraordinary might just blend into the background noise.
It's like hiding in plain sight.
Exactly, and then there's the whole theatricality of human entertainment. Apparently, Zarthos found that to be quite fascinating.
Yeah, I guess too, being with interdimensional travel, Vegas shows must look pretty quaint.
and this is where it gets really interesting. The casinos themselves, they're massive energy sources, and he was apparently using this energy subtly to maintain his human disguise.
So he was siphoning off a little bit of casino power to keep his alien batteries charged?
Like a cosmic power tap hidden in plain sight.
Genius, I've got to say. But every good story needs a little conflict. What's the catch with this Zarthos?
You're exactly right, there's a twist. Zarthos had a past that involved a significant debt owed to a galactic bounty hunter named Cathar.
Okay, a galactic bounty hunter. Now that's a new one. What's this Cathar like?
Well, imagine your classic bounty hunter, right? But instead of a gruff human, you have a reptilian being with a reputation for being absolutely relentless.
A reptilian bounty hunter. Now that's an image I wasn't expecting today. So how did this Cathar even find Zarthos? I mean, space is vast.
Well, even the subtle manipulations of these interdimensional pockets and gravity fields, they left a faint energy signatures, like a cosmic whisper. And Cathar, with his heightened senses, was able to track this across interstellar distances.
So Zarthos' amazing feats were essentially cosmic breadcrumbs leading this bounty hunter right to him. Talk about irony. So what happened when this reptilian debt collector arrived in Vegas? Did he just walk up to the Bellagio and ask for him by name?
Not quite one night during Zarthos' signature act. It was called the Vanishing City, where he would make a miniature replica of the Vegas skyline disappear. Poof, gone. Cathar made a very dramatic entrance.
On stage, I'm guessing the audience was a little surprised.
Oh, initially they thought it was part of the act. Vegas audiences, they've seen it all. They probably thought it was just some new and dangerous element of the show.
Did they applaud?
Oh, they did. The applause was apparently very enthusiastic. But then Cathar, in what's described as this booming reptilian voice, he announced, "Zarthos, your debt is due." and that's when his energy weapons started to hum.
Energy weapons, I'm guessing the applause died down a little.
It stopped instantly, and Zarthos knew at that point his cover was blown. He had no choice but to reveal his true form.
So no more human disguise. What did this alien magician actually look like?
He was tall, slender, with this shimmering iridescent skin and large, luminous eyes. Imagine the shock in the audience. They went from thinking they were watching a master illusionist to witnessing, well, something else entirely.
So did Zarthos try to fight this bounty hunter right there on the stage?
He knew he couldn't fight a galactic bounty hunter wielding energy weapons in front of hundreds of witnesses without causing some serious repercussions.
I imagine the Nevada Gaming Commission would have a few questions too.
So thinking quickly, he used his interdimensional manipulation abilities to create a portal right there on stage in the trapdoor, and he vanished just as Cathar fired his weapon.
Talk about a disappearing act. So where did this portal lead?
Well, the stage erupted in sparks and debris from the near miss, and the audience went into a full panic. But Zarthos found himself in the maze of tunnels beneath the casino with Cathar hot on his trail.
From the dazzling lights of the Vegas Strip to the dark underbelly of the city. What a change of scenery. So what did he do? Did he just keep running?
He knew he had to get out of Vegas, find a way to either settle his debt or outsmart this relentless reptile, and using his understanding of human technology, he was able to blend into the less visible parts of the city.
Blending in can't be easy when you've got shimmering skin and luminous eyes.
He eventually found refuge in a rundown magic shop owned by a man named Max.
A magic shop? Seems fitting. Don't tell me he found a magic wand that could zap away his problems?
Not quite. Max was a seasoned old magician. He'd seen a lot of strange things in Vegas, but even he recognized that Zarthos was something different.
I bet he had some stories to tell. So this Max, he helped Zarthos.
He offered a place to stay. His shop was filled with old props and outdated tricks. You know, the kind of stuff that Zarthos, with his advanced knowledge, could potentially adapt and modify.
That's one way to upcycle old magic props, give them an interdimensional twist. Did Zarthos decide to lay low, or did he use this opportunity to fight back?
He knew hiding wasn't a long-term solution. He decided to use his understanding of human illusion, combined with his own alien technology, to create traps and diversions for Cathar.
Okay, I'm picturing holographic decoys and gravity fields that send Cathar tumbling into the orchestra pit. What kind of traps are we talking about?
He used holographic projections to create false trails. He used those interdimensional pockets to conceal himself, and even manipulated localized gravity fields to make the environment really disorienting.
Imagine trying to chase someone through a casino where the floor is constantly tilting and slot machines are floating around.
That was the idea. But Cathar was relentless.
Yeah.
You know, those tricks, they slowed him down. But his senses were attuned to Zarthos' energy signature. He just kept coming.
This sounds like a galactic game of cat and mouse played out in the back alleys of Vegas. Where did it all lead?
To the Neon Graveyard.
The Neon Graveyard, what is that?
It's this sprawling area on the outskirts of Vegas filled with discarded casino signs, retired show props.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the ghosts of Vegas's past.
I can picture it. Giant flickering letters, enormous roulette wheels, faded statues of showgirls. It's got a certain poetic beauty to it. So this is where the final showdown took place.
It did. Zarthos used his holographic duplicates to confuse Cathar, leading him into a trap. And then using a giant mirror from an old stage show, he reflected Cathar's own energy blasts back at him.
Talk about using your enemy's strength against them.
Not only did this disable Cathar's weapons, but Zarthos then trapped him in a localized gravity field. He was basically pinned down in the middle of all this neon.
Okay, so Zarthos had him trapped. What did he do?
He could have eliminated Cathar right there, but he knew he couldn't do that in such a public place, even if it was a deserted one. So he created another interdimensional portal and sent the bounty hunter back to his home planet.
You just sent him packing. I like it. Did he at least give him a bus fare or something?
Well, he did promise to settle the debt at a later date.
A promise to pay later. Well, that's convenient. And I bet it saved him a lot of explaining to the authorities. But what about Zarthos himself?
He knew he couldn't stay in Vegas. He left a small gift for Max, the magic shop owner, a little interdimensional pocket with more than enough money to keep his shop running.
Wow, a parting gift with infinite funds. That's generous. But what about Zarthos? Where did he go?
He vanished into the night. He believed that the show must go on, even if it meant finding a new audience in another galaxy.
What a story, Adrian. An interdimensional illusionist, a reptilian bounty hunter. It's like something out of a comic book.
It is a pretty wild tale, and that's where your expertise comes in. You know, looking at the concepts presented here, interdimensional travel, localized gravity manipulation, alien disguises. How does all of this stack up against what we know or theorize about science and the paranormal?
Okay, let's break it down. Interdimensional travel and manipulating gravity, that's definitely sci-fi territory right now, but there are theoretical frameworks for these things, like wormholes in space-time for traveling vast distances, and physicists are constantly exploring the nature of gravity.
It's not entirely impossible.
Exactly. As for the alien disguises, well, if a civilization has mastered interstellar travel disguises, might be child's play for them. Maybe Cathar's reptilian features are just normal on his planet. Maybe we're the weird-looking ones.
It's all a matter of perspective.
Now, the energy siphoning from casinos. That's an interesting concept. It makes you wonder about the energy needs of advanced beings.
So while some aspects of this story are definitely pushing the boundaries of plausibility, there are threads that connect to real scientific concepts. What was your biggest takeaway from all of this?
It just reinforces how fascinated we are with the impossible. We crave those moments of awe and wonder, and who knows, maybe some of what we see as magic is just a glimpse of something beyond our current understanding.
It's a good point. And for our listeners who love a good mystery, this story of Zarthos offers a lot to ponder. We've got theoretical physics, the nature of perception, and the enduring appeal of magic, all wrapped up in one wild adventure.
It's a good reminder that sometimes the most unbelievable stories can lead to the most interesting questions.
Now, here's a final thought for everyone. If someone like Zarthos could blend into the chaos of Las Vegas, using abilities that we can only imagine, how many other extraordinary beings are out there living among us, hidden in plain sight?
It's a thought-provoking idea, Adrian. It makes you wonder about the people we encounter every day. Are they who they seem?
That's the question, isn't it? And that's all the time we have for today's Paranormal Probe into the enigma of the Great Zarthos. Thank you so much, Julia, for joining me.
Always a pleasure, Adrian.
And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on the True Alien Podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with another deep dive into the strange and unexplained. Until then, keep your eyes open. You never know what you might find lurking just beneath the surface.
And maybe think twice before you challenge anyone to a magic duel.
Good advice, Julia. Good advice.